Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Just Open It, the YouTube series in which I open recently acquired toys. My name is Russ. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. This video is the first after a long hiatus, but I still have a lot of toys to open. If you've subscribed to my channel in the meantime, I really appreciate you discovering these videos. And if you're discovering this video for the first time, please subscribe to this channel because I'm planning on opening all of these toys at least once a week and sharing that experience with you. Today I have McFarlane Toys Superpowers Robin action figure. Relatively recently released, and the latest, of course, of McFarlane's kind of retro-themed Superpowers figures, at least in their packaging, as a lot of the characters he's releasing in this line are newer compared to when Superpowers was originally released in the early to mid-'80s. Tim Drake is my favorite Robin, and I'm very excited to see him in this version of an action figure. This is what I think the new Superpowers line should be all about, supplementing the original Superpowers action figures with characters that wouldn't have been introduced simply because many of them didn't exist yet. Two criticisms when it comes to the Superpowers line and then this Robin figure. The first criticism is that the latest wave includes a lot of reissues. Another Wonder Woman, simply with a different colored cape. Another Batman with a classic paint scheme, but we've had a Batman in this new Superpowers line already. So I really wish McFarlane Toys and the developers involved found some more creative ways to integrate those anchor characters. Because look, I know that these figures generally don't sell to a mainstream audience without a Superman or a Batman attached. So why not an Azrael Batman? Why not a composite Superman Batman Superpowers figure? Why not the Eradicator or one of the Supermen from the Reign of the Supermen comic book story that came out after the death of Superman? I find that, you know, we keep we keep going back to Clark and Bruce and Diana, and there have to be ways to introduce new characters like this, anchored by those core heroes, but in different incarnations, perhaps even with different characters altogether, yet under the same iconography. Like I said, an Eradicator has that Superman S, so a mainstream audience could interpret that as a Superman, especially if you called it Eradicator Superman. Composite Superman Batman is the world's finest characters together in this weird, campy Silver Age character, so why not use him as an anchor? Just spitballing here because I really want to spend my money on these awesome figures, but I don't want to feel like I'm buying something that I've already purchased. Secondly, when you introduce these new characters, man, the Tim Drake Robin outfit is iconic for my generation. Designed by Neil Adams and popularized by my favorite Batman artist, Norm Brayfogle. I love the Robin costume with the detachable kind of ninja star R and the pockets on the sleeves and the gloves, which, yes, are included in the sculpting here. And yet you can even see from the package art, Robin had a black cape with a yellow interior. The yellow obviously preserves the original Robin design, you know, the Dick Grayson, Jason Todd Robin, but the black cape kind of modernized Robin a little bit, made him more stealth, which is what Batman's sidekick kind of needs. Otherwise, he kind of falls into that trope and that joke that he's just, you know, Batman's kind of kid target or shield and attracting the attention from the shadows so he could do his thing. Meanwhile, the goons are shooting at a child, right? So that black cape to me would have just been so cool. And after I open this figure, I might grab the cape from the Kenner Batman movie line. I think that Robin was marketed as a Batman Returns figure. But it's just a Tim Drake, as was seen in the comics of that time. And there's some, I don't know if it's been proven, but rumor or speculation that I think it was Marlon Wayans that was supposed to play Robin in that first draft of Tim Burton's Batman Returns. And so when you look at that action figure's head, that Robin's head, he's got this high top, and he's painted with a Caucasian face, but it's possible that that was meant to be Marlon Wayans, and the sculpt was made in anticipation of his debut in that movie. Anyway, I'm saying all that to indicate that I might grab that cape and put it on this figure to see how cool this could have been. But it's a Tim Drake nonetheless. I'm super excited to have it, and I'm going to open him right now. Tim Drake first appeared in the storyline, A Lonely Place of Dying, which was kind of the spiritual sequel to the Death in the Family storyline that killed Jason Todd via a 1-900 number. Fans would call this 1-900 number and vote whether or not they wanted Jason Todd, the second Robin, to live or die, because his popularity was kind of waning with readership. Well, they killed him, but Batman really can't exist without a Robin. So writers introduced Tim Drake, who was not an orphan like Batman and Robin themselves, but kind of neglected by his wealthy parents at that time, and he deduced the identities of Batman and Robin. And that's the origin McFarlane Toys uses on this back card here. Growing up in Gotham City can be complicated, ... complicated. Especially when you're a kid who's obsessed with Batman and Robin. For Tim Drake, learning everything about his favorite superheroes eventually led him down the path of becoming one himself after he deduced the identities of Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. That's it, more or less. It's got the classic Robin title there, which I love, that font and everything. And you can see the Superpowers line is growing, but of those 14 characters, 2 of them are Batman, 2 of them are Wonder Woman. There's a Flash and an Aquaman here. Now, Aquaman has his beard, and I would have loved 90s hook hand Aquaman here, right? But instead they gave him the orange and green, which is what he wears in the original Superpowers line. So it's just a different head on top of that classic uniformed body. I would have gone all in on that, just to offer a variation from the Aquaman that some of us, many of us, already have if you're a fan of these Superpowers guys. So, okay. Let's see what's going on here. Got this kind of 3-piece here. I'm not sure if all of this packaging is necessary. That new plastic smell. And McFarlane Toys listened, and they did not use like a plastic pin here to hold the cape in place like they did with the first wave. Superman and Batman have holes in their capes because of the packaging. It was like, you know, those kind of plastic clips that you see a lot of stores use to put a price tag on a shirt or something. They did that to keep the capes in place. I'm glad they didn't do that anymore, but this is a very thin piece of material. But boy, it's a Superpowers Tim Drake. And I just dig it. I dig the design. I just feel like he would have popped a bit more with a black exterior layer of that cape. But it's got that old kind of indicative Superpowers, the ring here to hold the, there's like a plastic ring sewn into the cape to hold it onto his neck. But the R is painted sharply. The belt, the pockets or pouches or whatever those are on the cuffs and the gloves are there. And the face is cool. You know, he looks young, which is important for Robin. Sometimes Robin is depicted in a way that he looks much older than a teenage sidekick. But there he is. I like it. I like it a lot. McFarlane Toys. I don't really rank toys on this series. I'm really just excited to open them and put them on my shelf. But I'd give this a 7 out of 10. And it doesn't get a solid 10, I think, because of the cape, quite frankly. And you have a hand that could hold a weapon. Tim Drake is renowned for using a bow staff. That would have been a nice inclusion, though. Accessories really aren't a priority with Superpowers. At least not McFarlane's take on them. And you know what? This figure was $10 at GameStop. And as far as action figures go, that's a pretty reasonable price nowadays. So I do give this figure a recommendation, especially if you're into Superpowers, old or new. If you're like me, I'm just cherry picking. I'm not a completist in this case. I don't need multiple Batman and Wonder Women and You know, I'm most interested in these figures that supplement the original line. So, if you're like me and you feel that way, I recommend this Robin. I think he'd stand very bravely and compatibly with your Dick Grayson Robin from the original Superpowers line, and the Nightwing that has come out that I have yet to open but soon will. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Again, I've been on a hiatus, and I'm excited to get back into this. I have a new ring light. It's making me sweat a little bit. Then again, I am in Phoenix, and as I record this at 8 o'clock at night, it's still 110 outside. So forgive the moisture here on my forehead. But listen, if you're a fan of toys, pop culture, general comics, and geekdom, please subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram at AmazingAZComics. I self-publish a mini comic called Amazing Arizona Comics that satirizes Arizona news, history, and culture with superhero adventure, and I'd love for you to follow that work there as well. You could also support me on Patreon at Karaoke Fanboy Press. Those links will be in the description of this video. Tune in next time when I look at the ever-growing pile of unopened toys here in my living room, and I turn on the camera and I tell you, you know what? Let's just open it. I'll catch you next time.